then you're gonna get our hand movement and you're not gonna see your body or anything.
Yeah.
And it's gonna focus on the cooking mainly.
That's great. Yeah.
But I do think we might want another light just shining down. I did bring a little ring light. If we want to see if it makes it a little bit better.
There's a light over my stove if that helps at all.
Oh, there is. That might be perfect. Yeah.
That's the microwave.
Oh. Well, I figured the light would turn on for it. Work light.
How do you turn that light on top of the stove?
You should have a button that just says light.
Light is on.
Is it?
Saying it's on.
Maybe it burnt out.
Light off. The light is on. Oh, power level. Oh. I've never seen a power level on a light before. Crazy.
Feel free to roll my clock back while you're there.
Wow, I have never seen such a advanced.
You should see the Italian guy at the end when your food's done.
Use a power bank, possibly, Chuck?
No.
Oh, like
Just USB power bank.
I'm not sure where would we set that up though. That's the problem.
One of us literally could just hold it behind Courtney.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of the idea.
Yeah. I don't want to have to do that
I might have
all
one in
time.
the car.
You might have one in the car.
for 45 minutes.
But we could also kind of like pinch it in between here too.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we don't have it currently in the shot. Yeah, that would work. Just pop it right here. And lean this against it. That'll work. We just need the power bank.
I have one too if he can't find it.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
So, do we want to do something different here with this bowl, or it's not in the shot anyways?
It's in the shot now, and it looks pretty good from this far off. I would scoot it a little bit more towards the outlet if you could.
Yep. You know what I could also
Perfect.
do is I have a bunch of lemons if we want to do all of one item.
Ooh, yeah, that would look way better. Yes, let's do lemons. I'll move here. Move back. Perfect.
Does that feel like enough lemons though?
Do you have a small glass that we can put on the bottom?
Inside, probably not one that would work. This is
Yeah.
Maybe you
I
just
have
put some
oranges too. If we wanted to do both.
Yeah.
I think the colors would look good together.
Have like a citrus moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need a second hand.
Oh yeah, totally.
Maybe that's just kind of pop it right there. Let's turn this puppy on. Will you let me use it? Oh, there we go. Is it on?
Oh.
Is it because it's cotton here?
No, this usually works just fine.
Yeah, the battery doesn't like it.
Okay, we're not gonna. It's okay.
Definitely need a light, guys. We gotta figure this out. Just don't know why it's being so funky.
It's not it. Touch here to turn off.
Oh,
Must be burning. Alright, I'm gonna change my shirt. Should this be in the background or no?
I think it's
I think
fine.
it looks good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, are you guys wanting, like, what's your vision? Am I talking? Am I explaining what I'm doing? Is it a silent video?
I think explaining what you're doing,
Explain, walk
but
through.
mainly for us, like maybe
Yeah.
for internally when we're
We'll
editing.
probably separate the two. So
Oh, okay.
use the audio maybe for something, and
Yeah.
then just the video of you.
I brought mics.
Yeah, definitely micro it. Get that clear audio.
Never been. Ah, that's not true. I've been mic'd before.
It's a tiny little guy, just like hooks
I've
on.
never done that before.
It's easy.
Yeah, so did you have one?
Okay,
My good ones.
I will be back.
Only I use.
Can you some help? Are you like?
Here, if you hold it, I'll shut it in.
Your mom will leave.
Perfect. We have different modes on this. So hey Jack, will you tell me which light you like best?
Is that doing anything?
Okay, so I'm not seeing a difference, so. I'm not seeing a difference, so whichever one is probably brightest.
Actually, what if we went lower with that?
Jack.
I don't think it is.
Okay. Do you think that's while she's cooking though? It's not too.
I think it'll be fun.
It's not in the
Because
shot.
that's the thing, is like we want her.
In the shot.
We don't want her body in the shot, it's just the arms. Right, so you can see that?
No.
Your hands are in there, but it's still not.
Oh. Right here.
Yeah, so we don't have to worry about. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, let me.
Do we want music off or is because if we're doing audio recording, we probably want it off so we can add different music to the background. Music should be on. It just makes it so we can't use different audio behind it.
It's wide enough to dash you almost like a tower.
I can turn it off or on.
I think probably off.
Let's just do off.
Okay.
To the audio.
Just is.
It'll save us some time.
Okay.
No, I was envisioning us just like having the audio so we know internally what the process we're at. I don't know if we're necessarily going to end up using it, but that's
Okay.
safe and sorry.
Is there a pot that you guys prefer?
I don't think it
I
matters.
think this
The
is probably
silver
better just
ones,
because it's a
yeah.
little lower, so you'll be able to see a little better what's in.
Get it. Okay. Let me grab my last. Okay. Let me just grab a whisk.
Is there any way that we can just take this
Yeah.
off of this?
Yep, for sure. I'll be dumping. Okay. Don't you eat that. Let me give it a quick shake, and then are we going? Is it
Yeah, we're
filming?
going.
It's been going for the last 9 minutes.
Oh
No,
no.
you're good. It's all good. No worries.
Okay.
But that was just a way of setting stuff and we could like play around with it.
Okay. Cool. Like even my mic's hot.
No, once you put the mic on, that's when it started recording.
Oh.
So, and I
Okay.
can cut anything out.
Okay. So I can just give it a go.
Yeah.
All right. So I will turn this on. So what I've done is I've soaked these mustard powder into water for about 24 hours. And what that does is it helps the powder bloom, and also adds some of its like pungency. So sometimes when you have mustard, you'll get a ton of that like horseradish kick to it. So what that does is it blooms that flavor. And then when you soak it overnight, it just gives it a moment to not be as pungent and to kind of calm down a bit. So this will take about 45 minutes. What we'll do is we'll bring it to a very slow simmer, and we'll just watch it simmer down. And once it's fully simmering and looks a little bit thicker, then we'll go ahead and add the vinegar in. In the meantime, what I can do is I will do some chopping. So one thing I like to do with my dill is start by removing some of the larger stems, but definitely keeping some stem in there because I like the inconsistency between the leaves as well as the stems itself. I just don't want a ton of stem in there. So I'll go through, pull some of the stems out, make it a little bit cleaner. Guys, I feel a little awkward.
No, it's okay. Sorry. I think the shot looks really good, actually.
I mean, as long as you say it's good.
Why don't we do some commentary about the story of mustard if you don't have...
Like my story?
Yeah, exactly.
Like why I started it?
Yeah.
Let me try and think of a...
But if you want, I can give you interview questions.
Sure. Yeah. Let me give you my story, and then you can hit me with some questions. How does that sound? Okay, so last fall, actually, I was having a moment of wanting to create something of my own. And I worked in product in the sportswear industry and really wanted to do something my own. But I wanted to stay in product. But I grew up in the restaurant industry. So my comfort zone is definitely in the kitchen. It's definitely with food. I was grown with I was raised where we really focused on like fresh ingredients in our kitchen and in our restaurants. Really never have any like artificial, natural ingredients, just like pure, delicious food. And so I knew I wanted to create something like that. And then my little guy, my little 8-year-old, is a mustard fiend. Like drinks mustard out of the bottle, which is disgusting. As disgusting in person as it sounds now. And we were making mustard for him one night, like mixing some relish with it. And my husband was like, why don't you start a mustard company? And I said, that's a horrible idea. I don't want to do that at all. But I got more and more curious of like what it even looks like to make mustard. Like, how do you make mustard? And so I just started playing around with it, and then played around with a lot of different recipes and crowdsourced a bunch of different recipes of like, what were people liking? What were they not liking? I always liked mustard. I was never a huge mustard fan, so I was never like tied to a certain recipe, which I think helped me a lot in creating something universally delicious, because there was so much different input in what people liked and didn't like, and the recipe that I finally landed on. So I was able to like really tap into like focus groups and what they wanted and what they didn't want. So over like hundreds of different people trying it, it's how we came up with these. For the dill that we're doing, I wanted to create something really herbaceous, something a little bit unexpected, but dill is such a delicious flavor on its own that I really wanted to have that as like a standalone flavor, but still with that mustard background. You can see that this is getting like a little bit thicker. So what I'll do before it scorches in the bottom is add my white vinegar. I love the brightness that the white vinegar brings to the taste. One thing that's different between the dill and the yellow mustard is the dill only has the white vinegar, while the yellow has a mix of the apple cider vinegar along with the white vinegar. And so this one, I didn't want any distractions from the dill flavor, and I just wanted it to be really focused on dill and not pick up the notes of the apple cider. I'll let that thicken for a bit, and then we'll add all the spices in.
Awesome. That was great. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So, when you broke out into new stores, how was that experience for you? Finally getting into new seasons. I know you were quite excited to finally see it on the shelves, but what was that like real moment of seeing it there?
It's like super surreal. I don't know if it's like truly sunk in quite yet of how it feels, other than really exciting. I've been doing demos in store, which is so fun. So people just like enjoying the mustard genuinely. Excited to hear about like why the flavors taste they do, what the ingredients are. Like, that's probably been the best part, is like interacting with the customers and the staff at New Seasons, and everybody just being really excited around a new local ingredient or like new local product. I had one woman come up to me last night who was like, I love your mustard, but I can't eat anything with natural ingredients. And I was like, well, we actually don't. Like, they're all just the ingredients that you see here. And she was like, it's so hard to find food without natural ingredients. And I completely understand, because when I first made this dill, we made the base and then we just threw a bunch of fresh dill in, and it tasted delicious. Like, we got a ton of that dill flavor. Like, it's so good. And then 4 days later, my husband was eating it. He's like, I don't taste any dill at all. And so we're like, oh no. And so, like, without really understanding why, I met with a food scientist at the Food and Innovation Center here in Portland and asked her why. And she had said it's because when you put a ingredient in, if you think about like eating garlic, like when you first eat it, it's really pungent, it's really strong. And then as it breaks down, as you chop it up, as it sits in the fridge for a few days, that strong flavor gets less and less strong. And so so she's like, you have to meet that flavor at the most mature and broken down state. So that's where we started using dill seed in this instead of tapping into natural flavors, because it's just something that I really refuse to do. I really want to focus on all natural ingredients. And so that's why we have 3 different types of dill. I love the dill flavoring, which honestly comes from the dill seed, but I love the visual look of the dry dill, like that rich dark green. And then I love the inconsistencies that come from the fresh dill. Like, there's a little bit of stem in there. There's a little bit of like different size leaves in there. And I just really love having that inconsistency. It like feels more natural. It looks more natural. It is more natural.
So when you were making this mustard, it not only was it for your kids who can't get enough of it and your family, but when you really started getting into these customers and seeing it in person and getting these food tastings, do you find yourself building a community around these flavors and just the experience that's bringing?
Yes, I mean, I think so. I hope so. There's several people who are like, I have so much mustard in my fridge right now, but I'll be back to get this when I need more mustard, which is fair. But one thing that I'm starting to notice is, like, with the mini 3-packs, people are buying those so that they can figure out what their favorite flavor is and then come back and buy the 6-ounce jars, which is awesome. But also people are starting to share what recipes they're using. And so we have one gal who loves to use this dill mustard on her salmon. And so she like bakes her salmon with a bunch of the dill mustard on top, and we joke that it's her lazy girl salmon because it's just so easy. Or like I make deviled eggs with the dill mustard, and it just makes it so easy because it's, you know, a lot less steps. So are we building a community? Yes. But I will say we're so new that people are like not going through a full 6-ounce jar yet, but going through the small jars, figuring out what they like best, and then coming back for the larger size.
How does it feel, like seeing that change of like people getting that initial starter and then them getting hooked on it and getting those 6-ounce jars? Like, I foresee it getting bigger and bigger for you, but how does that feel for you as this owner?
Yeah, I almost don't believe it or believe them. I'm like, are you sure you like it? Like, you really actually like it? And now it's getting to the point where enough people genuinely like it that it just feels so great. Because when you create a product, you're like putting your everything out for people to judge and for people to have an opinion about. And so before my first farmer's market, I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this market. I don't want people to tell me that they hate my mustard. But instead it was like all these people that were coming along just genuinely loving the mustard, and buying a jar, 2 jars, sometimes 3 jars. Somebody bought 2 of each jar the other day, which was amazing. And so it feels so fun. Yeah, it's amazing. I didn't know I'd feel this proud of it.
What is your personal favorite flavor?
Yellow.
The yellow?
My yellow. I love like the simplicity of it. I love this taste of celery. And so that was one flavor I really leaned in on with my yellow is I wanted that celery hit, but I also wanted it to be really savory. So I use kosher salt in it, which has more of a salty taste. And so I love that it's savory, it's really flavorful with all the spices. It's a little bit more simple, but she's definitely my favorite, hands down.
So when you were coming up with the We Must Mustard brand, like what definitively made it We Must? Because it's such a powerful statement. And
right.
It really is showing through the community of people who are buying your product that they must have this.
Yeah.
I feel like that was intentional. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think one, my personality is always like a little bit over the top, a little bit extra. And We Must was just something I said a lot of, like going through the grocery store and my kiddos wanting something and the answer is always like, oh, we must. And so as I was like finally developing the recipes, I was just joking around that I should name it We Must. Like, oh, it's not a joke. We're doing that. But what I really liked about it was I'm very passionate about our planet. So I use as little plastic as possible. So my packaging is in glass, and I really did not want that plastic bottle that you use for a few weeks or a month and then it sits in a landfill for the end of time. I couldn't get behind something like that. So I definitely wanted glass. I wanted my labels to be paper. So my labels are paper, they're biodegradable. Oh, they're actually not biodegradable. Let's edit that one out. But they are a paper base. And then what else did I want to be? Like, I'm using as much cardboard as I possibly can when I'm shipping, reusing, if I do get plastic, like reusing that to reship product out just to be as sustainable as I possibly can. And then I also genuinely believe in doing what's right for like our families. So again, going back to the idea of all natural, healthy food. Mustard's having a moment in the NHL when the players get off the ice, they're eating mustard to help with cramping. So it's like something that's genuinely like helping people. But also like how can we add a ton of flavor without the natural flavor and the artificial flavor and all the like shit that comes with so much of the product that we're consuming right now.
Have you used or seen anybody use the jars in interesting ways? Like I've thought about using mine to make a candle or something like that.
Oh, cute. No, I haven't, but I love that. I've seen people post images of like they created a charcuterie on the beach, like on a cute little like beach towel, but I haven't seen that, and that's a really good idea. Sorry, I just realized I didn't do my turmeric.
No worries.
There's a bag of turmeric. Yeah, you'll see it. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna get one more bowl. Will that be weird that there's one, like, all of a sudden 5 bowls?
No, I think it's fine.
You'll be
Okay.
Where is your bathroom?
Under the stairs.
Thank you.
Okay, I will. Can't believe what a mess we've made in here.
I know.
I've made in here.
No,
today.
no, definitely us.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is add in all the spices. So I like to start with the turmeric. This one's my favorite. This is when all the color comes through. Can you see into the pot?
We can see, just barely. Maybe we can get a little bit more action of the actual of the bottom. But that's great. Explaining what you're putting in and why you're putting in is perfect. It's awesome.
Okay, cool. So added the turmeric in. The turmeric I add in for the coloring. And so this is my absolute favorite part of the whole process, especially when I'm using 40 gallons of ingredients. It just gets that beautiful brightness. It's definitely a balance because turmeric can have a really strong taste. And so how did we balance out like not getting that strong turmeric taste, but also getting that really beautiful lighter color or that more yellow color? Turmeric is in. Delicious. The garlic powder, the kosher salt, and then the dill seed. So again, that's what's really adding the majority of the flavor to this mustard, which is wild. So the food scientist that I actually was talking with said that when she makes her dill pickles, she doesn't even use fresh dill or dill weed. She just uses dill seed. So that's how pungent the dill seed is. I'm gonna let that cook down for a while longer, and then at the end I like to add in the rest of the dill, just so it doesn't get too wilty.
Awesome. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to think of more questions.
No, you're fine.
Let's see.
I can speak to sorry.
What do you think your biggest takeaway from your bringing a product to market course was?
Like what did I learn the most in that course?
Yeah.
So each day or each week they cover a different topic. Like what are some, or like jar distribution, that like somebody came to the class and spoke to that. So it was actually a local jar distributor whom I use, located out near the airport. Or we had a lawyer come through one day and just speak to like what we need to look out for. What else? We had a photographer come through and talk through like why it's important to like get solid photography, or like web builder came through. A big part of the class was how to scale your recipe. So one thing I didn't know going into this, which most people do know, is you don't have like a 1-for-1 scaling when you go from a small batch to 40 gallons. And so essentially with each size that you go with, you have to create essentially a new like ratio of ingredients for every single size that you create. So if I'm doing an 8 gallon, 10 gallon, 40 gallon batch, the ingredients are totally different in how much I put in per ingredient. So that was a lot of trial and error. We went through a lot of like cost of goods. So like, how do you figure out how much you're going to charge based on all of your goods and like time and distribution and, you know, wholesalers, how much you're selling it to them for. So just like how to break down how much to like genuinely charge.
Totally.
What was your mustard moment? The one that like that one bite that made you go, yep, that's it. I've nailed the recipe. Like, what was that dish that you made?
Oh, the dish itself. You know what? It's interesting because for a long time I didn't use this in any dishes, and I just ate it like with a spoon because I wanted to taste the mustard itself, and I didn't want I didn't want whatever I was dipping it in or whatever I was cooking it with to take away from that flavor, if that makes sense. Like, I wanted to genuinely taste what that mustard was tasting like. So it was the 14th batch that I made, which was the final recipe that I went forward with for my yellow. And I think I created like 5 after that just to be sure that it was exactly the right one. But I ended up taking it into work with me where we had some like dry erase tables, and I lined up a bunch of mustards, brought pretzels in, like wrote the number down on each one and had people vote on what was their favorite. And they all also, actually not all, I'd say like 90% of everyone voted on that number 14.
Nice.
So that was probably the moment where I was like, okay, it's not just me. Like, other people genuinely like this batch or this recipe.
If mustard could teach people one thing about taste, what would it be?
Yeah, so my favorite thing about mustard is that it brings brightness to a dish or an ingredient. I think it also is such a simple condiment, so it just has such pure, healthy ingredients in it. Like, it's water, spices, and vinegar, and it all comes together to be so delicious. And I think what it teaches is that you don't have to add a ton of shit to something for it to taste good. Like, you can just really lean in on each individual flavor and let it create its own voice. And that's probably my favorite thing. And I pared a lot back and I added some things in as I was creating these recipes. But what I really wanted to be sure that each thing did was it had its own reason for being in the mustard. So like with my dill, is it a little excessive that I have 3 types of dill? Probably. But I really like that each one has a reason for being there and all complement each other. That was a good question. Thank you.
Of course, for sure. I'm like going back and forth with ChatGPT. I'm like trying to phrase these well.
Yeah, you can give me the general idea and then I can spitball off of that.
Yeah. Right now I'm just trying to build more of a emotional connection. So less about the brand, less about like what to use it with, and more about like how people are going to interact with it and how they are going to feel based off of your interpretation.
So like how people will feel about my brand.
Yeah, it's like, how have you noticed how mustard can change when it's like cooked versus when it's fresh out of the jar, and how that differs for a person who's looking for the easy girl salmon meal versus something that's a little bit more luxurious for a charcuterie for a Thanksgiving party?
Yeah, so I think something that people are always looking for is like a really lovely hostess gift and something that's a little bit more unique. And so it's so easy to grab a bottle of wine or a jam, like jar of jam. And people are always looking for something that's a little bit more interesting, a little bit more usable, but also feels really special. And so that's something that I really wanted to create when I was creating this brand. Like, I love walking in with a hostess gift because I appreciate being invited over to people's homes so much that I always want to show my gratitude by walking in with a beautiful gift. But like, I can only bring over so many candles and bottles of wine. So I love the idea that this could be an opportunity for somebody to like bring something over that's unexpected and beautiful. And I love the idea that the jars are beautiful, and when you open up your fridge, it's a moment of like, not like chaos in the fridge, but like a beautiful label and a delicious condiment that, again, you can just dip a potato chip in and add that brightness from the mustard onto that salty, greasy, delicious moment. And so I wanted it to be like twofold. One, a delicious condiment, but two, something that people would be proud to bring over as a hostess gift.
Yeah, the mustard aisle traditionally is full of yellows and beiges. So what made you go the complete opposite direction and have these vibrant, beautiful colors?
Yeah, I wanted it to stand out on the shelf. And I think also the world is kind of done with those like muted tones and ready to go towards more vibrant tones, which I'm so excited about. And I wanted this to be something like that. Like, I really admire chocolate right now because the chocolate wrappers are like a piece of artwork, and they're bright and they're vibrant, and the illustrations on the front are very cute, very playful. And so I wanted to make mine very feminine. So when I worked with the local tattoo artist to create the flowers, we went through many iterations of what that flower would look like. And what we ended on was something that was really feminine and almost looks like a flower crown around the product, or around the We Must naming. And I really liked that. Like, I liked how feminine that was. And then pairing that with the bright colors felt really fun. So like, we also see the Chanel's of the world going towards those really bright, vibrant neons. I wasn't quite willing to go all the way neon, but almost like a neon adjacent. And so that was my inspiration behind the coloring.
In a world that's full of brands, and everyone usually have, like with ketchup, everyone goes for Heinz because that's the most popular.
Right.
So with this being in the world of mustard and condiments, do you think people are surprised by how elevated this mustard can feel when it's done right? Totally.
Yeah, and I think that really comes across when people taste it, and you can see the reaction on their face of like, oh my gosh, that's actually really good. And I genuinely thought I liked the like squeeze bottle mustards before, but now when I try it, I'm like, ew. Because this has so much flavor in it, and it just has like such an elevated taste and texture. And then also most mustard isn't cooked. And so I love what cooking does to the ingredients. Like, it melds them all together so deliciously that it's just, the time is worth it because of the quality that you get once you cook it all down.
Personally, I didn't like mustard until I tried this. Have you found that you're converting people to mustard?
Oh my gosh, Ellis, for real?
Yeah, no, this is the first mustard I've actually enjoyed.
Oh, thank you. Kind of same. I like, not that I didn't like it before, but I never craved it. And like, these ones I genuinely crave. Have I converted people? Yes. So we did an event at something called The Wedge, and it was a cheese event in Portland. And there was this group of like early 30s, late 20 guys. And they were like, we really don't like mustard. And I was like, well, I love people that don't like mustard, because then you can give me some real genuine feedback about what you don't like. And so they came over and they tried it, and they're like, well, actually, we really like this mustard. And so they ended up buying the little mini 3-packs because they knew they wouldn't go through a ton of it. But for somebody to walk by and say like, sorry, I don't like mustard, and then to leave buying it was like was so cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, because when I, before working on this account, when I used to think of mustard, I'm thinking of the super fake yellow, the
Totally.
squeeze bottle.
Totally.
And this is just completely the opposite direction of that.
Yeah, and that's also part of the reason why I wanted to put it into a jar. Not only because I love the idea of like dipping something in there, like straight into the jar, which I often do with like a Havarti cheese or like a slice of salami. But I really like the idea that it's more intentional. Like you're using a spoon to get the mustard out. You're putting it in your recipes. You're putting it in a bowl. Like it's just more intentional than like the squeeze of the big plastic bottle.
How do you think this brand resonates with people who care about ingredients or people who care about the experience of eating?
Repeat the first part of it.
Yeah. What do you think this brand resonates with people who care about ingredients or the people who care about the experience of this eating?
I think that it's resonating with them. Do I want to say the most? Kind of. I feel like they already get it and maybe they just appreciate it more than somebody who just likes the taste of it. Like there's a lot of people that will walk by and say like, oh, that's delicious, and they'll buy a jar because they like the taste. But like the gal I was talking to about who's like, oh, I'd love dill, but there's always artificial flavoring in anything dill. And this was the first like product that she'd come across that didn't actually have natural or artificial dill flavoring.
So if you could sum up the goal of We Must Mustard in one feeling for customers should walk away with, what would it be for you?
That's a good question. Like a one word or a one feeling. Like I want them to be excited that they have the product, that they have something to use and or gift. But when it comes to like buying like handcrafted artisan product, I guess I want them to feel like, I keep thinking of the word proud, like proud that they have something that had so much like care and intention, but also overall just like happy and excited to use it.
Yeah. So how does that taste reflect the idea of handcrafted, like something made with patience rather than mass produced?
How does the taste differ? I don't know if it does, but here's why. It's because every batch doesn't taste the exact same. And every batch doesn't have the same consistency because it will depend on like the humidity outside. It'll depend on like the temperature that, that it is outside. There's so many dependents and variants that go into creating this that yes, of course, consistency is the goal of a big brand, that like you always know exactly what you're getting. But what's exciting about small batch artisan product is it's always unique and it's always a little bit different and it's genuinely homemade, even though it's in an actual commercial kitchen, but it has the feeling of like homemade product. I'm gonna throw my dill in. This is probably my second favorite part. And I really love putting just like a ton of fresh dill in there. I think it's so beautiful. I love the like juxtaposition of that deep green against that yellow. I think it's so beautiful. And then when you stir it in, it's just like mouth-watering.
So you almost see the different textures as more of proof that it is homemade and less of a challenge you need to overcome.
Yeah. It's something that I've been working through of like, do I want to have a product that has like guar gum in it that has like a thickening agent so it's always the exact same, or can we all just appreciate that it's a little bit different every single time? Still tastes delicious, but is the texture going to be a little bit different each time? Yeah, it is. And so I think that's what we've kind of gotten away from as a society of like everything has to be like exactly the same and regimented, and I like the fact that this is just like a little bit different and unique, and he keeps saying like a little bit wild. Yeah.
How does this brand make something as simple as mustard feel like a part of someone's lifestyle and not just their pantry?
Yeah, so I think the lifestyle comes from like, how do we start shifting away from like artificial ingredients and artificial goods and chemicals and things that in the long run really make us quite sick. So how can we, yeah.
Do you think this brand connects most with people who love food or people who love meaningful details?
Interesting. I think it ends up resonating more with people who like good food because they can appreciate the process. They can appreciate the taste. Yeah, I think people who have a good understanding, like a good culinary understanding, have more of a appreciation for like not only what it is, but how they can use it.
What do you think people notice first? The texture, the aroma, or the clean finish that lingers?
I would say none of those. I would actually say it's the like the way that the taste of each ingredient develops throughout you tasting it. So you'll find with the dill, for instance, you go on this like immediate journey of dill like blooming on your palate, which was the goal. Like I wanted that to be the first thing that you tasted. And then after that, you get the brightness from the white vinegar. And so it's almost like a flavored journey. And I really wanted it to be like a layered journey where like all the flavors didn't just hit your palate at the same time, but they all just kind of built at their own pace and cadence.
I've heard you describe this mustard a few times as sort of like a feminine mustard. Is there any reason that was like important to you? Or do you feel like that just speaks to the personality of what you've created?
So my initial goal was for this to be, I kept calling it Femi Tomboy, which is an oxymoron on purpose. But I always love like juxtapositions, like really feminine, but like absolutely slays her fantasy football. So I love when people have those like, they're like complete ends of the spectrum, but like this wonderful, unique person. And so my goal was like, how can I make this brand kind of the same thing? I think as I started like working with the artist for the labeling, as I started working through the colors, it just became more and more feminine. And it was like a momentum that I just didn't want to stop. And it kind of took on a life of its own. I think if we're being honest, the majority of shoppers for the family or in general are female. And so I really I wanted to speak to that, and I get an emotional connection to product when like it's beautiful and it's local and it's pure. So it all kind of just took on a life of its own to be feminine like that.
Yeah, it is really interesting because a lot of the, you have to stop and think about it for a second, but a lot of the mustards, when I think of the mustard aisle, are, they feel very masculine in a way. The artificial yellow with the black or the gray on gray. Yeah. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, I definitely wanted it to be different.
And it's great that you're bringing this essence that the masculinity and these condiments that are loud beforehand aren't the only ones that would stand on the shelves, and something that is poised and feminine tomboy, but still is just as strong, leads to the same reaction.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, why do you think it has that impact? Like with other brands being so masculine and loud, yours being subtly loud by saying we must have the mustard. Mm-hmm. How do you feel that really changes the buy for a customer?
Yeah, I think there's like an agency now of going against what's always out there, and like creating your own uniqueness is celebrated. And I love that. And I think it made me feel more bold in doing so of like, yeah, I don't want to create something that's already out there. I want to go I want to take a sharp left when everybody's going straight. And so with every decision I was making on the label or the flavor, like I kept going back to what is already out there. How can I stray away from that? But then also like, how can I tap into something that isn't out there? Like I don't want that gross yellow squeeze bottle in my fridge. I really don't. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like that what it stands for. I don't like that there's just plastic sitting in landfills. Like how can every decision I made, I wanted it to be completely different than what was out there. So like I wanted to hire a tattoo artist because I wanted it to have like the edgy feel of a tattoo. I wanted that tattoo artist to be from Portland. I wanted that tattoo artist to have like the creative freedom to do like these cutie little emblems. Like I love the women owned was a crown. I love that he did the handcrafted as to like a sweet little jar. And it was just these details that somebody who does art for a living and like is bold enough to put art on somebody's body. Like I just really trusted them that they could do art that would live on a jar, hopefully forever.
Food process. Sorry. Are we done? I see your
She's
stove
done.
off. Awesome.
Yeah.
I just have one more question for you. And who do you think gravitates towards this kind of product? The home chef, the hostess, or the minimalist? Or all of them?
Right. Home chef most, no question. Minimalist eventually. And again, because I'm so new, they're like, I have my mustard, but I'm going to come back when I'm done with that mustard. And then the hostess, we're getting there. So one thing that's great about these little jars is people who come in from out of town are buying them because they can put them in their checked luggage and then take them home for their families as like a gift of like, look what I brought from Portland. That's what we're seeing a ton of. So, but above all else, definitely the home chef.
That's really interesting because yeah, you can bring the little jars because they're under 2 ounces, huh? I didn't think about that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh yeah, I think we're good. No bottling process. Just this is.
I have some jars upstairs if you want me to spoon them in.
I think we're okay. I think probably better.
I think that's most important.
Don't because I feel like that we get to a little bit of risk in home kitchen with the label on the jar.
Yeah.
So we probably
Cool.
Awesome. Cool. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us
Oh my
here.
God, thank you so much.